What's up, everybody? First of all, Happy New Year to everyone. Hope 2018 makes 2017 look like a horrible year. Not that 2017 was perfect, but I'm sure 2018 will be better for everybody. Today's video is going to be a Lego video. Couple hints as to what it will be right here. First of all, my new modular building work in progress. This is going to be a mock. Has a certain architectural style. Second, there's a base plate here built in Greater Florida Lego Users Group Standard that's going to be housing a certain modular that's not going to be a corner building. And third, of course, if you've seen the title, you probably know what this video is about, and that is, the dang thing was so hard to fit, but it is a review and building video of the Lego 10260 Downtown Diner. I've waited for this set for so long. I'm glad that it is finally in my hands. The set retailed for $170 and it is phenomenal. It definitely fits my layout. This is actually the first modular building that I've bought in so long, and when I was doing the Sawgrass store models, they gave me loaner copies of the Fire Brigade, Grand Emporium, and the Pet Shop, so I hadn't actually physically built a modular since the Pet Shop. So this is a very welcome return. It's returning with a huge research. We have a brand new color, as you can see in the box, that is teal. And I'm going to show you my teal collection very soon. So as of December 31st, 2017, this was pretty much all the dark turquoise that I had in my hands. Evidently, you can see a few pieces from the Rock Raiders line. I think these are Technic tubes. They came from a massive haul that I got from a thrift shop. I'm missing a few 1x4 tiles from this image because they were assigned to the Element skyscraper, and there are about 11 1x2 bricks. Maybe I have 4 more built into some kind of a phone box that were purposed, that actually, well, they're just city purpose, but they came from Pick a Brick in Orlando in 2006. If I had known better, I would have gotten some more dark turquoise 1x2 bricks, but I definitely kind of kicked myself for not getting enough. But really, when you look at this set, and I know this is going to be a bit of a spoiler, but when there are 38 1x4 bricks, and how many 1x3s? 7, okay, 45 basic bricks. Just as a start, just a boot here, it's already, our, I would say regrets are at least answered somewhat. This set is very heavy on tan. I believe that it will work. We'll find out if the tan will go with this. If I'm not happy with it, there's always the modeler's license, the creative license of modifying the building. This is Art Deco architecture, and clearly with the palm trees, you know which city this is suited for, and it's the city that I'm in right now, Miami, Florida. It's a very Miami Beach style building, 1950s themed, but of course a very timeless model, and I will make it timeless, especially when I incorporate it with my Modern Modulars series, which has been taken hold since 2015. Well, the moment has arrived. It's time to finally unbox this bad boy. Apologies for the silhouette and the messy bricks because I'm building the Passion rebuild version 3, which will, of course, go pair well with this building. When you use a box first, it's very dangerous the way I'm doing it, but whatever. I'll assume no liability for any cuts that I do to myself. The box is officially compromised the seal. Rather, I've officially compromised the seal. And here comes all the poly bags. In fact, let's do this. Get this guy out. This is going to be very messy. Self-contained box set has turned into a spill out of poly bags. Sure enough, ladies and gentlemen, sure enough, look at this. Look at this. After 10 years, maybe more. It was 12 years since I got it from Pick a Brick. We have the return of dark turquoise, and I'm very happy. Unfortunately, I won't be needing this anymore since I did the template, and I kind of chose gray on purpose because I'm going to save all the tan base plates to build some sort of maybe a beach. I mean, this is South Beach after all. So I'll put that away and just build on top of that. Hope you guys don't mind the lack of purism, but I think it's since it's going to be incorporated into the club's standard, I feel that it's better that I just efficiently upgrade the building to the club standard rather than just have to rebuild it, tear apart, and deal with instructions. Polybag 1 and the GFLUG base plate are all ready, so to be quite fair, I will get back to you guys once submodel 1 is complete, and I will update the video at the various intervals. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, submodel 1 of the downtown diner is finally complete. Looks incredible, looks very Miami so far. So far, I did follow the build for the most part. Of course, I did a little bit of personal touch in the back here because I had a white plate kind of exposed, so I did some South Florida overgrowth. Because in the back of establishments that are nitty and gritty like this, you will see lots of overgrowth, including like sand spurs, little tiny wildflowers, etc. So that's the detail I included. I'm not too crazy about the new flowers. However, I do like that the stalk uses a like a plug-in attachment rather than a stud and tube attachment to the bottom. So you get to do interesting things like what you see here with the dark brown flower pots housing this flower stalk setup. Another interesting use, you get to stick it on top of bamboo if you want to model that overgrowth that I mentioned earlier. Interior details are absolutely stunning. I'm very glad that you get to like at least sit a minifigure properly despite the smooth surface. It's a very consistent, well-schemed interior. And of course I did cut a few corners. Instead of mounting 1x4 plates all over, I decided to save those and use 1x2 plates because I have a huge surplus of them, and I think the 1x4 plates will be more useful for diverse building. And of course, to match it with the GFLUG standard, since there's a 1 stud overhang, I used a 2 wide brace standard to interlock with the sidewalks. So those are the only changes. Other than that, it's a very consistent build, following the instructions. But of course, adding a little bit of personal touch, that's what I love about this hobby. You get to do that. Alright, submodel number 2 is complete. And I made, of course, a few more modifications. One of which you can notice is the use of a black lamppost instead of the stock white one. If you go to South Beach, you will notice that the lampposts are all black. I don't think there are any white lampposts. The second submodel was a very fun build in particular. Look at the letters for diner. It was maybe a bit of a pain to keep those letters straight, and still not straight, but whatever. Interior is complete now. I'm glad they reused the stars from the cinema, so it's kind of a smart move, preventing the street value from those pieces from rising. And of course, the amount of extras is increasing, and as I substituted a few white plates for more logical arrangements, of course that opened up a few spares. One such example, instead of a 1x1, 1x2, I just stuck a 1x3, and while making a sturdier, more sensible arrangement, which I know the palette is very prohibitive of certain parts, at least I have certain other useful pieces I can keep for further building. So that's one of the neat advantages of the substitution process, called smart substituting. We're about to start submodel number 3. Let's go. Now submodels 3 and 4, the second and third stories are done, and I am loving it. The interior experience is pretty good. Generally, compared to the first floor, of course, this particular section of the build has been fairly dull, but I think the 10 actually looks pretty good, and I'm really loving it. The interior details are all presenting interesting techniques and interesting use of small pieces. Lots of tubes and clips and what have you. Of course, I will talk a little bit more about this when I reflect on the model after the final submodel is finished. Finally, after a 7-hour building process with whatever breaks in between, the LEGO Modular Downtown Diner is finally finished. It was a really enjoyable build overall. Now comes the part where I actually review the set and describe all the strengths and weaknesses. But ain't she purty? So I'll start with whatever few negatives this set has. Now, of course, if you compare it to a modular like the Parisian restaurant or Assembly Square, you may find that the design is very simplified. That's a true observation. Of course, there is its own set of building techniques that Mike Siaki introduced, such as the side snot throughout the second and third floor, the interior window design, and of course the snot letters for diner, which I thought was really cool. But other than that, it seemed like the building process for the second and the third floors, especially after the wow factor of the first floor and all the interior details of the actual diner, were very tame, very dull. It was a little bit of a bore, I will admit, just building up the walls. But really, when you're building a building, what do you expect? Luckily, there are the interior details that spice things up, even though some of them looked a little bit on the simpler side, like the... Well, to be fair, I don't know. I mean, just the way that certain details were set up used very classic brick assemblies, which was, in its own respect, very nice. It was interesting, giving this a real creator vibe. It doesn't feel like a city set. It ends up feeling more like a creator. Feels like some of the modern creator sets that were made about 5 years ago or sooner, where they started to include minifigs, they started to offer minifig features, but there was a sort of blockiness in the details, and you kind of see that with the third floor chair. But that level of creativity, of course, I mean, this is a creator set, look at that. But I'm just pointing out that maybe some of the details felt a little bit blocky. But other than that, I mean, it was excellent build. If I were to build this as a mock, I would probably pull off almost the same stops. Now, another note, of course, a lot of people were not very pleased with the choice of tan. It felt like it was a complete slop when compared to the turquoise and the pink. And by the way, good job, Lego. Good job actually restoring turquoise exactly like you did it 20 years ago. That's a piece from the Rock Raiders Tunnel Transport set from 1999. But since I'm still talking about negatives, I will talk about the comparison of tan to white, gray, pink, whatever, and address that it is actually not that bad. It gives off a little bit of a glow, a very pastel glow that actually fits in this set. I'm pretty impressed. I guess you can say that the PR and the marketing for this set was a little bit weak. The designer video, I have to say, it was very weak. I was kind of like, what am I watching, please? But in the end, seeing this in person, you get a different feeling. The pictures do not do it justice. All the post-image processing does not do it justice. You have to build it yourself to really enjoy it and to really admire it. I was at first thinking, okay, I'm going to switch to tan for the white, make the fences, the brown fences, black, and give it a real South Beach vibe. But I think it's fine to leave as it is. It looks just fine as it is, and I think this is already convincing enough for a South Beach building. Enough said. That should be it for the negatives. Now, of course, I kind of like my cars 4 wide, but having the Cadillac 6 wide is great. It's just a personal flaw. It's not something that I would count against the set. The car looks excellent. It's just going to be a little bit out of scale with my city vehicles. Now that the negatives are taken care of, now to talk about the positives. The inclusion of teal, pink, and dark pink was flawless. There's nothing that could be done any better. The color scheme is very harmonious in this set, and all the interior details of the diner are exactly what you could ask for. In fact, I was kind of thinking, I'm not sure if it was the designer video where Siaki said that that the city is missing a hotel, which is of course a bit of a satire. It's a bit of a sarcastic remark addressing the cafe corner's lack of interior details and the fact that it's of course advertised as a hotel on the outside with a sign. But I felt that since the cafe corner was missing a cafe, that the diner actually made up for it, and if I were to think of a cafe or an eatery that would go inside the cafe corner, all the details are contained within this very building. Excellent parts palette. It has all the parts a city buff could ever need. Lots of white plates, lots of gray plates, lots of tiles. The clear 1x1 bricks are a nice treat, and of course the revival of turquoise. You get 45 basic bricks. It may not feel like much, but it's at least a great start and a promising sign. I remember when the Green Grocer had sand green reintroduced for the first time in a few years. I was stoked to have it, and it's interesting to see that sand green is pretty much dominant in LEGO's products now. Having a peek inside, I think the details are very nicely laid out. Here's the boxing ring. There is definitely no feeling of tightness, no claustrophobia. Everything is well designed. Even though I may have made a comment about things being a little bit blocky, like the 2x2 bricks here and the 2x4 bricks there. Well, not really 2x4, but it's like 1x4, whatever. Lots of things had a creator-ish vibe. And looking at the diner, yeah, the boots are giant. Like, I don't see myself having seats that big. Maybe the details inside come off a little bit big. That's kind of why I made that remark about the creator-ish detail. But I really like how well stocked it is, how much of it feels like a grown-up city set. And that's what it really is. That's what it really feels like. Maybe, heck, this could be a grown-up friend set. But just because it's dominant in colors like pink does not mean that it has to be a friend set. And that's what a lot of the critics over on forums like Eurobricks have been saying, that it feels like a glorified friend set, and I mean, it's great as it is. Like I said earlier, I at first thought that the building process for all these walls was very dull, but when I got to the stairs, I was like, holy cow, this is actually really fun. The way Mike designed these spiral staircase is impressive, using a giant Technic axle with a stopper and these fence pieces to bring minifigs up. In practice, I don't know how realistic this would be. This would actually be pretty scary to climb. If in real life, I don't even know if I did this wrong, but whatever. I really like this record piece. All the prints are neat, and the top floor details were fun and a nice way to learn a different technique, using pins while using clips and bars to do the inverted ceiling overhang. Of course, a very important point that the fans have been complaining about is the change of smileys in the minifigures. Personally, I do not mind this one bit. It's just my opinion. It would be nice. All I ask is that we have access to the classic smiley if we want. That's really all I ask. I don't want them to just completely get rid of them. But I feel that having this emotion allows the minifigs to be up to date and to be more applicable to the modern city scene. And that's why I'm pleased with the introduction of emotions on the figures. And another item where the pictures do not do any justice is this Cadillac. I really like it. It's a nice little car. Of course, the guy's singing. Obviously, we only get to see a lot of the front, but the back, the tail of the car looks absolutely stunning. Simplistic, bulky, but neat. That's all I can say. One last note, which is a double-edged sword for the set. It's kind of difficult to stack these floors. Maybe it's because I was lazy and I just built the building on top of each. I just built each floor on top of each other. Like, I didn't build the floor separately. I just like pre-attached it and everything. But while it's nice to have studs, which eliminates the need for additional bottom hanging plates, it does become a little bit tough to get the building to sit. This thing keeps falling off. I cannot help it, but maybe it's something the designers can work on in the future for other modulars, or maybe it's something on my end that I need to resolve. As you can see, it's not locking, and every time I get something to lock, something else comes off. Yada yada yada. And of course, the last and definitely not the least interesting scene that I will have to offer is how I plan to go forward with this model. Here we have completely mounted the scene into a GFLUG city street standard thingamajig, whatever you call it, paired up with another South Beach themed modular-ish building that I did back in 2015-16. It was around the same time of year. I started 2016 with a modified version of the Heart Lake hair salon because I said this looks like a Miami building, I have to tweak it. So I added walls and added an ice cream shop. This is the Motto ice cream chain from Turkey. And of course gave it all the necessary curves it needed to be a very convincing replica of a South Beach building. But of course the way that this building, the diner, was designed made this setup completely perfect and very harmonious, at least in my opinion. Like, you don't want to be looking out of a window only to see another wall, so at least you have what is actually serving as a corner building. As you can see that there's this extra stud hanging out this way. I designed this as sort of a rough corner. And you have at least people with a place to, with a lookout when they look towards this way, and they'll be able to, I mean, it's all representation. At least you'll be able to represent a convincing city view as opposed to just a hodgepodge of buildings lined up next to each other, which was of course the Assembly Square, Brick Bank, and Downtown Diner diorama that we saw in the previous catalogs, especially the leaks for the set. But I feel that this color palette is very fresh, a great way to start a new year, and a great way to bring on a new wave of modulars. As you may have seen earlier, there is a rework of the Passion coffee shop that I've built like 20,000 versions of. I thought that the last version, which was sand blue, dark orange, I'm sorry, it was medium nougat, which is an even more sad color. I thought that version was very sad and mundane, so I just completely went ahead, injected an Art Deco friendly palette, and got to work. And that will probably be the next LEGO video that I publish on this very fine YouTube channel. Thank you guys for watching. This was a fun New Year's Day. Hope you guys have had an excellent winter break, an excellent New Year's, and it's time to start an awesome year with many, many great things to come. And hope you guys have enjoyed this review of the diner, and I recommend it. Please get it. Enjoy it, savor it, have fun with it, and hope to see you guys soon at a train show maybe this year. Who knows? It's a fresh year, we gotta have a fresh calendar. From HQ, please like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Feel free to let me know if I did a terrible review. I probably did anyway. From my home studio, this is TE out.